Do you ever wonder if he's already forgotten you? If he's moved on, continued his life, and left what you shared behind? If whatever he once felt for you has simply disappeared? Most women fall into the trap of reading silence as indifference, distance as forgetfulness, and calmness as a sign of moving on. But the truth is more complex. The inner world of men doesn't always show itself on the surface. Not every pain makes noise, and not every absence means he no longer cares. Some men never cry in front of you, yet shed their tears alone. Some block you, only to keep searching for your name in quiet moments. Some insist they're fine, while every exaggerated smile, every carefully crafted post, every long silence is nothing more than a mask for what they cannot fully face. Male pain often hides itself, surfacing in behaviors that may seem contradictory, even senseless to the female eye, but which are in fact subtle acts of self-protection. When a man suffers in silence, he doesn't announce it. He doesn't post it, write it, or say it out loud. He reveals it only to those who know how to look closely. This is where the difference lies. While women tend to express their grief openly or else suppress it completely, men develop a coded emotional language, quiet but powerful, waiting for someone sensitive enough to read it. In this video, I'll share with you 7 silent signs that reveal when a man is still hurting after losing you. He won't tell you whether out of pride or because you are no longer there to listen, but his body, his energy, his gestures will speak in his place. These are not games or manipulations. They are authentic signals of the heart, rising up when the words can't. Let's begin. Sign number 1. He talks about you with others, but not with you. When a man has truly closed a chapter, he doesn't need to mention you at all. He turns you into silence, into memory, into the past. But when the wound is still open, when something inside him remains unresolved, your name slips out not to you, but to others. And that alone speaks volumes. Maybe a mutual friend tells you. Maybe someone casually mentions that he asked about you. Or perhaps you notice how he slips your name into a story or hints at you in a post. And you wonder, why doesn't he just reach out to me directly? The answer is simple. Because he can't. Something inside him won't let him cross that line. It's as if his heart wants to speak, but his mind locks the words away. Reaching out would make him too vulnerable, too exposed. So instead, he finds indirect ways to keep you alive in his emotional world. His feelings search for an outlet, and since he can't tell you directly, he releases them through others. When the man still carries emotions for you, even if he denies it, he starts talking, venting to friends, acquaintances, even to people he never planned to see again. He talks about what was, about what hurt, about what you did or didn't do. And if he does this, it means he's still living it inside. This is one of the most common ways male grief works, processing out loud what he hasn't yet managed to resolve within himself. And you, whether he admits it or not, remain part of his conversations. Even when he insists he's over you, it's as if he needs external validation to understand his own feelings. By talking about you with others, he isn't just venting. He's trying to piece together the story, to find meaning, to ask questions he doesn't know how to frame. Each time he speaks your name, he's trying to rewrite the past in a way that allows him to move forward. Don't see it as a signal to go back to him. See it instead as confirmation that he is not yet at peace. And if you're already in the process of growing, there's no need to intervene. Simply observe. The pain expressed indirectly often weighs the most. Sign number 2. He avoids you in person but doesn't stop watching you. There is a kind of silence that is not indifference. It is self-protection. When a man still feels something, he may choose not to come close. Yet he cannot help but keep his eyes on you. If you've been part of his life, if you've left an imprint on his heart, you've likely seen this sign. He doesn't text, doesn't call, doesn't make any effort to approach. But when you share the same space, the same room, or even pass him on the street, you feel it. His presence lingers, his gaze follows, even if he tries to hide it. He avoids direct eye contact, but you sense it. The silent pull of someone who still cares, though he doesn't dare show it. He looks away the moment he senses you might catch him watching. But when your eyes aren't on him, his are on you. He studies you quietly, taking in details he'll never say out loud, but which will stay in his mind for days. The way you were dressed, the tone of your voice, who you were with, whether you seemed happy, whether you looked as though you'd moved on, all of it matters to him even if he swears he feels nothing. Why does he do this? Because facing you would mean feeling again, and feeling hurts. His pride tells him it's pointless. His mind tries to protect him, but his emotions are still tied to you. So he chooses distance not as punishment, but as a shield, a barrier to keep himself from falling apart. It's his way of surviving emotionally. He maintains that visual contact because he needs to know how you are, but he avoids coming closer because he knows that if he does, the fragile structure he's built to protect himself could collapse in an instant. And this is where so many women misread the signs. They see avoidance and assume it means indifference, but often it's the opposite. Sometimes silent pain requires distance just to keep from breaking, and if you remain grounded, calm, without provoking, without forcing interaction, he feels it. And his internal emotions intensify, because true detachment doesn't chase, doesn't demand, doesn't dramatize. It simply leaves an imprint. So if you notice him avoiding you, yet sense that he's still watching, don't chase him. Don't confront him. Don't respond with contempt. Simply remain present, calm, and respectful. Because in your tranquility, he feels the echo of everything he still hasn't managed to release. Your emotional steadiness becomes a mirror, reflecting both what he lost and what he might still hope to regain. And though his pride won't let him admit it, his heart recognizes that maturity. Now, let's move to the third sign. Sign number 3. He acts as if he's better than ever, but in an exaggerated way. You see him posting smiling pictures, sharing motivational quotes, writing phrases like, "Everything happens for a reason," "I'm my own priority," or "alone but happy." Suddenly he's out more often, appearing with friends, dressing sharper than before, reacting to your stories with studied indifference. On the surface, everything suggests he's moved on. But something doesn't quite add up, does it? There's a certain force behind every post, a smile that feels more like a silent scream than genuine emotion. Because when a man suffers in silence, he doesn't always retreat into sadness, he disguises it. He convinces himself he's fine, and in the process, tries to convince everyone else, too, especially you. Every photo, every story, every subtle visual hint isn't meant for his followers, it's meant for you. And if you're watching, he wants to be sure you see how happy he is without you. Why does he do this? Because it still hurts. Because he still feels. And since he can't bring himself to say it to you directly, he shows it in the loudest way he can. It's as if he's silently screaming, "Look how great I'm doing without you." But beneath that scream lies a quiet plea, that you'll notice him, that you'll recognize the effort, that you'll remember he still exists in your world. The truth is, someone who's truly at peace doesn't need to prove it. Someone who's healed doesn't need to put on a show. But someone who's still broken inside often feels the need to pretend that nothing affects him anymore. And here's the delicate part. It isn't about malice. It's about survival. He's battling himself. Pretending he's okay is the only defense he knows against a pain he hasn't yet learned how to process. If you understand this, you won't need to react. You won't need to play the same game of "I'm doing better too." Just observe. Because if you are truly at peace, your silence will speak louder than any filtered Instagram story. True strength doesn't compete. True healing doesn't need validation. When a woman realizes that behind every exaggerated "I'm better than ever" is often a heart still healing, she stops responding with her ego and instead sees with compassion. Now, my friend, let's move on to the next sign. Sign number 4. He contradicts himself, overreacts, or gets angry for no clear reason. A man who is genuinely at peace responds with clarity, with coherence, with calm. But a man who is still hurting inside, who doesn't know how to name or release his pain, will find that his emotions leak out in sudden, uncontrolled ways. He blocks you, then unblocks you. He talks to you, then pulls back in regret. He ignores you for days, then replies with coldness, or worse, with sarcasm. He posts indirect messages, unfollows you, then follows you again. And you are left wondering, what does he want? Why is he doing this? The truth is simple. He doesn't want to feel, but he can't help it. He wants you not to matter, but he craves your attention. He wants you to believe he's fine, but every unresolved emotion eventually rises to the surface. Inside, there's a war raging. The rational part says, let her go. The emotional part whispers, but you still need her. And in the middle of that battle, you become the battlefield where all his contradictions collide. Many women mistake this for instability, but it isn't madness. It's grief, unprocessed, unresolved, unspoken. He feels vulnerable, and because he can't admit that it hurts, his reactions burst out in ways that seem exaggerated, disproportionate, or confusing. You become the target of the storm, not because you deserve it, but because you still live inside him. So what should you do? Don't play the same game. Don't mirror his sarcasm. Don't add fuel to the fire. Instead, interpret what's really happening. He's hurting, but doesn't know how to tell you without breaking apart. If you stay centered, if you understand that his contradictions are not attacks but symptoms of pain he hasn't processed, then you won't feel the need to react. You can simply hold your presence from a distance. Because when a woman refuses to be dragged into the chaos and remains steady, she becomes the point of calm he secretly longs for. In these moments, your composure isn't coldness. It's wisdom. It's the quiet strength of someone who sees beyond the drama and recognizes the deeper truth. Behind every contradiction is a man battling himself. And what he needs most isn't for you to join the chaos, but for you to stand in your own peace so he can one day find his. Now, let's continue. Sign number 5. He starts posting content designed for you to see. He doesn't call. He doesn't respond. He insists he's over you. He might even have blocked you in one place, but kept the door open in another. And suddenly, he's posting more stories, more updates, more signals. Photos where he looks better than ever. Songs that feel like hidden messages. Quotes that echo moments you both lived. Posts that only you could fully understand. And you ask yourself, is this for me, or am I imagining things? You're not imagining it. When the man suffers silently for you but can't or doesn't want to speak to you directly, social media becomes his outlet. That's where he pours everything he can't say. And he does it with the perfect excuse. It's not for you. But both of you know the truth. Because if he truly didn't want you to see it, he wouldn't show it. And yet, he does. And there you are, watching, feeling. And chances are, he's watching too, waiting to see if you'll react even if you don't hit like. Why does he do this? Because he needs to feel he still stirs something in you, that he still matters, that his presence is still alive in your mind. At the same time, it preserves his pride, because technically, he never sent you a message. It's a passive emotional dance, but one filled with intention. So, what should you do? Don't react on impulse. Don't confront him with, was that for me? Don't give him the satisfaction of confirming his effect. Simply observe, and if you truly wish to reconnect, do it from your center, not from the need to validate what you saw. Because here's the paradox. The more he tries to show he doesn't need you, the more he reveals that part of him still does. The more he insists he's fine without you, the more he confirms he wants you to notice. It's a fascinating contradiction. Someone who is truly healed doesn't need to prove it. But someone who still hurts often tries the hardest to display strength. And behind every, look at me, I'm better than ever, is a silent hope that you're still watching. Now let's move to the 6th sign. Sign number 6. He blocks you, unblocks you, disappears, and reappears. One day, you open your chat, and it's gone, you're blocked. No explanation, no argument, no warning. And then, days later, without a word, the block disappears. Suddenly, you can see him again. Maybe he reacts to something you posted as if nothing happened. Or maybe he just quietly makes himself visible again, and you're left thinking, what was that? Why is he doing this? The answer isn't in the action itself, it's in the pain behind it. When the man suffers silently and can't manage the pain with calmness, his need for emotional control often pushes him to cut the channel between you. Blocking you becomes his way of protecting himself, of feeling strong, of setting boundaries. But the truth is, his feelings remain alive. And when the intensity fades, when anger softens into longing, when absence becomes too heavy, he comes back. Not always with a message, not always with words. Sometimes, just unblocking you is a message itself. I don't know if I want you here, but I don't want you completely gone. That emotional ambivalence is one of the clearest signs of silent suffering, because someone who has truly healed doesn't cut and restore the connection every week, but someone still in pain doesn't know whether to let go or to hold on. So what should you do? Don't meet chaos with chaos. Don't react with drama. Don't demand explanations like, why did you block me? Don't mirror the behavior by doing the same. Simply recognize it for what it is: emotional disorganization. If you are centered, you don't need to be pulled into that back and forth. Stay grounded, stay calm, stay present in your own space, because if you are the one who doesn't waver, he will feel it. And in the middle of his storm, you will represent the stability his heart still longs for, even if his mind won't admit it. Your consistency in the midst of his chaos becomes a lighthouse. While he battles his contradictory emotions, you stand as the steady point of reference that reminds him what peace feels like. And even if he never says it, part of him still longs to return to that stability you hold. Now we arrive at the final sign. Sign number 7. He doesn't reach out, but he doesn't let anyone else take your place. He doesn't write, he doesn't call, he doesn't beg. And you might think that means he's forgotten you, or that someone else has already stepped in. But silently, he's unable to connect with anyone new. It's not that he lacks options. It's not that no one is interested. The truth is, no one awakens in him what you once did. And this frustrates him because he wants to move on. He wants to feel free. He wants to experience something new. But with every attempt, he compares, he remembers, he relives. He goes out with someone new, but feels empty. He gets messages, but he doesn't reply with the same excitement. He receives attention, yet he isn't moved. Because deep down, there's still a space inside him that you once occupied, a space he hasn't been able to replace. And the most striking part is that you never see any of this. He doesn't say it. He doesn't post about it. He doesn't admit it aloud. He simply lives it night after night when he can't find a true connection. On every date that ends up being just a shadow of what he had with you. In every forced smile that hides the truth. When a man won't let anyone else in, even while insisting he has moved on, it's because you are still inside. His silence, his distance, his apparent coldness, these aren't signs of forgetting. They are signs of an internal struggle, a battle you cannot see, but one he endures every day with no one to hear him. It is the quietest and most painful fight. Wanting to move on but not being able to. Wanting to feel something new, yet constantly comparing. Wanting to open his heart, only to discover it is still occupied by your memory. And the hardest part? He doesn't even understand himself why he can't let go. Now you do. Just because he doesn't text you, doesn't cry for you, doesn't speak about it, doesn't mean he doesn't feel. There are men who suffer in silence not because they want to, but because they don't know how to do it any other way. And their pain doesn't spill out in tears. It shows in contradictions, in sudden blockings, in stories that feel like hidden messages, in glances that avoid but never forget, in absences that weigh heavier than any goodbye. Don't be fooled. Don't believe silence means forgetting. Sometimes silence is the loudest scream of someone who simply doesn't know how to let you go. If this video helped you see what words never said, if it opened your eyes to the emotions that stay unspoken, then subscribe. This channel isn't only about love, it's about learning the emotional language no one ever taught us to read. Turn on the notification bell. Share this video with someone who still thinks he's over her, when in truth he feels her presence more than he dares to admit. And remember this, a man may stop talking to you, but if he hasn't stopped feeling you, sooner or later, you'll know.